Yo guys, and welcome back to Luke's vlog channel. Just finished watching the highlights in the Premier League game between Aston Villa and Sunderland. We scored in the first 2 minutes of the game. A good pass up from Matty Cash to McGinn and a header by Ollie Watkins. Really good build up to the first goal, but it was very well created by Cash, McGinn, and finished off by Ollie Watkins. But it was really cleverly done. It was really good. Then obviously we dropped our heads a little bit, and 9 minutes in, and Chris Rigg scores a really good goal for Sunderland. It was a really good goal for him. It was a really good goal by Chris Rigg. It was, the way, he took that strike and beat Martinez. It was a really good goal for them. And, we did play some good football in the first half. Both teams did, and 36 minutes in, we get another goal, another header by Ollie Watkins. Good build up to the goal. It was really good. It was very similar the way we built the goal for the first Ollie Watkins header. It was really well done, and it was really positive first half. We were really good, and we were very good passing the ball very nicely, and but yeah, both teams had a good first half. Sunderland, had that strike from Chris Rigg, and obviously then we went 2-1 up with the Watkins header. Second half, very quick start to the second half. John McGinn puts the pressure on their fullback, and McGinn puts the pressure on. Passes it in to Ross Barkley. Barkley passes it over to Watkins. Watkins passes it into the path of Morgan Rogers to make it 3-1. And, we're sitting quite comfortably. Watkins did have the chance to get his hat-trick in the second half, and but he was unfortunate not to get his hat-trick, and we were sitting quite comfortably, but then Sunderland somehow managed to build a bit of momentum for themselves, and we're thinking, we are sitting comfortably, and they out of nowhere get us on the counter to make it 3-2, and we're thinking, right, Sunderland are trying to get a bit of momentum, and then out of nowhere they get us on the counter again, and it's 3-3. And we're thinking, right, we're gonna have to make some changes, but for one of the goals, Sancho's at fault. Sancho comes on. He's at fault for the goal, for one of the goals, because he's just give the ball away, and it was really sloppy by Sancho the way he lost that ball, and 3-3, and we're thinking, right, we have to make some changes. Brought on Tammy Abraham for Ollie Watkins. Watkins had a really good game. And you could see like Watkins was, frustrated on the bench, the way we've almost given the the game away, threw the game away, and we're thinking, right, we're gonna have to try and get a winner. And you know, Tammy Abraham comes off the bench and makes it 4-3. And you know, really happy for Tammy Abraham. You know, to get a goal for himself, you know, it was really, really good. You know, he did hurt himself in the process, but you know, it was really good to see him get the winner. You know, it was just like old times, the way, you know, when he scored against Blues in the Championship, and you know, the goals he scored in the Championship, and it's like old times. And you know, the way he got us through to the playoff final when we beat West Brom on in the penalty shootout. Just like old times, it was so good to see him score a goal. You know, we were just really, really good, you know. I mean, I know, like, it was a very nervy last, you know, 7 minutes of the game, and you know, we scored in the last couple of minutes, which is fantastic. Really happy for Tammy Abraham. Like I said, it's just really, you know, we almost threw the game away, but thank God for Tammy Abraham getting that goal. It was really, really important. We needed them points, you know. We need to, you know, to keep, you know, to try and keep Chelsea at bay and keep Liverpool at bay, because you know, Liverpool won today. You know, we all kicked off at the same time. You know, so it was very, very, very vital 3 points which we got. We got it over the line just about. You know, so just very, very important that we, you know, see what happens towards the end of the season. You know, we've still got Fulham, Tottenham, Burnley, Liverpool and Man City to play, so it's going to be an interesting end to the season, you know. And plus we do have Forest in the first leg of the semi-final first leg coming up on the 30th of April, so we look forward to our remaining games. Please like, subscribe and post notifications so you're notified every time we make a video. Up the Villa, and come on, peace out.